Impossible. The humans can't be this advanced, Dr. Xylozar muttered under his breath, staring at the flickering holographic data spread across his workstation. The images were unambiguous. Blueprints, technology, algorithms that had no place in the human timeline. I said the same thing a year ago, replied Vlorax, his colleague from the Vlorax Nexus, a small cluster of planets known for their rigorous research, but also their cynicism about lesser civilizations. Yet, here we are, still studying their trajectory. You've seen the data. I don't care about the data, Vlorax. I care about logic. And logic says this. Humans cannot possibly have reached this level of technological sophistication in such a short span of time. Xylozar's four multi-lensed eyes narrowed in disbelief. You've missed the point, Xylozar. It's not just their technology. It's their ideas. Look at their history, their rise from primitive chaos to a species capable of unlocking quantum manipulation in under 200 years. That is something we haven't seen in any other species. Vlorax's voice held a tone of both awe and concern. Xylozar's mandibles clicked together in thought, his high-pitched hum filling the silence between them. Their theories are untested, theoretical at best. Yet you believe they can produce practical results? Vlorax tilted his head, a gesture that in their species was equivalent to a raised brow. I believe that these theories are already transforming their world. Xylozar was silent for a moment, his long, thin fingers running across a series of projections. For all his experience, for all his rationality, there was something about humanity that gnawed at him, a sensation that his mind couldn't quite grasp. But they are unpredictable, too erratic, too emotional to be reliable. You call it emotion. I call it ingenuity, Vlorax replied. Sometimes, it's that very chaos that sparks the greatest breakthroughs. I've seen their works firsthand, and if I'm right, we may soon be witnessing the birth of something unlike any civilization we've ever encountered. But you're not seeing it, Xylozar. You're too focused on their flaws. Xylozar's silvery skin shimmered in the dim light as he sighed, his voice softer this time. Perhaps you're right. Maybe it is time to stop underestimating them. In the heart of the bustling capital city of Earth, within the confines of an underground research facility, human innovation was unfolding in ways that had never been imagined. Among the brightest minds in the world was a young scientist named Dr. Elena Richards, whose passion for the unknown rivaled even the most seasoned researchers from other galaxies. She had spent years working on a theoretical model that could revolutionize energy, teleportation, and even the fabric of reality itself. Her work was groundbreaking, but humanity's path had been one of constant challenge: war, division, poverty, and environmental collapse. Yet through it all, humans had managed to survive and adapt. One particular invention was about to change everything. It was called the quantum thread, a technology that could unravel and reweave the very nature of existence. Though in its infancy, the project was on the cusp of achieving a leap no other species had ever come close to. But that very leap came with risks, unpredictable ones. This could be the key, Dr. Richards whispered to herself as she reviewed the simulations of the quantum thread. Her colleagues were already making plans for the first test, but the risks of failure weighed heavily on her. If this works, if it works, it could change humanity's future. Or destroy it. She wasn't the only one watching. Far above Earth, beyond the reach of the most advanced telescopes, a sleek, gleaming vessel silently hovered in the vacuum of space. The alien scientists aboard had been monitoring humanity's rapid advancement for years, studying their erratic behavior from a distance, waiting for the right moment to intervene. It wasn't curiosity alone that had drawn them here. It was a growing fear that if humans were allowed to continue on their current trajectory, they might soon surpass even their most advanced alien counterparts. Is it time to make contact? Vlorax asked, standing before the council of his fellow alien researchers, his four arms folded in anxious anticipation. Xylozar stood at the front, his posture rigid. His earlier skepticism had evolved into a quiet determination. Yes, but we must proceed carefully. We cannot afford to risk alerting them to our presence before we fully understand the potential of their invention. You doubt their ability to understand? One of the younger members of the council, Nivak, asked skeptically. His voice was sharp, tinged with impatience. Xylozar's 6 glowing eyes fixed on Nivak. Their technological advancement is impressive, but their understanding of the consequences is incomplete. We must be the guiding hand, the mentors. If we wait too long, their quantum thread could tear the fabric of reality itself. And if that happens, the entire multiverse could unravel. The council was silent for a moment as the weight of Xylozar's words settled over them. The implications were grave. We must make contact, Vlorax stated. But first, we need someone who can get close to them. Someone who can truly understand their culture, their motives. We need a human ally. Xylozar's mandibles clicked, a sound akin to a sigh. I'm aware. But we need someone who is trustworthy, someone who can see the bigger picture. I have the perfect candidate, Vlorax said, his voice steady. Dr. Elena Richards. She is already deep within the core of their technological development. If we can get to her, she will be our bridge. She will understand the true potential of the quantum thread better than any of us. Xylozar paused, considering. Fine. But remember, we cannot afford to reveal ourselves too soon. We'll be watching from the shadows for now. If she proves worthy of our trust, we'll make our move. Dr. Elena Richards had no idea that the universe's most advanced minds were watching her every move. She only knew that her work was teetering on the edge of something extraordinary. Her team had just completed the final tests on the quantum thread, and today was the day they would test its practical applications. I'm nervous, she admitted to her colleague, Dr. Marcus Sullivan, as they stood in the control room, observing the enormous machine that would harness the power of the quantum thread. You should be, Marcus replied, a grin playing on his lips. This is uncharted territory. But hey, that's what makes it exciting. As the countdown began, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the verge of something bigger than they could imagine. But just as the countdown reached 0, something unexpected happened. A disturbance rippled through the air, and a strange energy surge engulfed the room. Shut it down, Elena screamed, but it was too late. In an instant, everything went black. When she awoke, the lab was in ruins. Her colleagues were nowhere to be seen. Panic set in. Had the experiment failed? Had they opened a rift in space-time? She tried to move, but her body felt strange, disoriented. Something was very wrong. Suddenly, a voice echoed in the darkness, a deep, resonant tone that seemed to come from all around her. You have succeeded, Dr. Richards, but you have also awakened something, far beyond your comprehension. Elena's heart raced as she tried to make sense of the voice. Was she hallucinating? Or had the experiment truly torn open a doorway into something otherworldly? And then, from the shadows, a figure emerged. Tall, alien, with glimmering eyes that seemed to pierce through her very soul. I am Xylozar. We have been watching you. Elena staggered back, her heart pounding in her chest as the figure before her stepped into the faint light. The alien silhouette was imposing, with his multiple limbs and glowing eyes giving him an air of both intelligence and authority. He studied her intently, as though analyzing every reaction she had. Watching me, Elena whispered, trying to steady her breath, her mind still reeling from the catastrophic failure of the quantum thread experiment. Who are you? What's happened? Where is everyone? Xylozar's voice was calm, but there was an underlying sense of urgency. Your colleagues are elsewhere, in a sense. As for the experiment, it did not fail, Dr. Richards. It succeeded in ways that neither you nor I fully comprehend. His eyes gleamed brighter as he continued. The quantum thread you've created has not simply torn the fabric of space-time. It has opened a passage to realities beyond your own. To the multiverse. The word sent a shiver through Elena's spine. The multiverse. She had read about it, theorized about it, but never imagined it could be real. Multiverse, she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. You mean, like different versions of reality? Xylozar inclined his head slightly, his many eyes narrowing in what could have been amusement, or perhaps respect. Yes, multiple dimensions, each with its own version of reality. The quantum thread has bridged the gap, but at a cost. It has caused a destabilization, a ripple effect that threatens not just your world, but many others. Elena's mind raced. She had never intended for this to happen. All she wanted was to push the boundaries of what was possible, to unlock new potential for humanity. But now, it seemed her ambition had opened a Pandora's box that could unravel the very fabric of existence. Why didn't you stop me? If you knew this could happen, why not intervene sooner? Elena asked, her frustration giving way to a rising panic. Xylozar's eyes softened. Just for a moment. We had no choice but to watch. You humans are unpredictable, yes, but your potential is unparalleled. We have studied your species for years, and we believe that, despite your erratic behavior, you have something that no other civilization has, the ability to innovate beyond the boundaries of your understanding. But you were always going to reach this point, Dr. Richards. We simply did not know when. He took a step closer, his towering form casting a long shadow over her. And now, we must work together. The rift you've opened cannot be closed by ordinary means. The quantum thread you've created is far more than you realize. It's a bridge, a gateway. If left unchecked, it will collapse all of reality into a singularity, consuming everything. Your world, the worlds beyond it, all that you've known will cease to exist. Elena felt the weight of his words press down on her, but she also felt something else, a spark of recognition. She wasn't the only one with knowledge of the quantum thread. Xylozar knew too much. You've been watching us. Who are you really? Xylozar's mandibles clicked together, and for a brief moment, his demeanor shifted. We are scientists, explorers from a distant star system. Our mission is not conquest, but preservation of knowledge. We observe civilizations as they advance, tracking their progress. But your species, Dr. Richards, it stands apart. The things you have already done, the things you will do, no one could have predicted. He stepped back, his gaze softening. It's not just about technology. It's about the heart of your species. Your capacity for creativity, for growth, even in the face of your flaws, is why we came. Elena's breath caught in her throat as she processed this. So, you came here because you think we can fix this? We can save the multiverse? Xylozar nodded slowly. I believe you are the only one who can. You and your species have already proven your ability to think beyond limitations, to innovate when others falter. But the question is, will you be able to see the consequences of your actions before it's too late? Elena hesitated. She was just one person, one scientist with a dream that had spiraled out of control. The pressure of saving the multiverse, of being the key to preserving countless realities, was overwhelming. But she knew one thing for sure. She couldn't face this alone. I need help, she said quietly, her voice barely audible in the chaos of the ruined lab. I can't do this alone. Xylozar studied her with his many eyes, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, he extended a hand, though not in the way a human might. His many fingers shimmered, as though weaving through the air itself. You don't have to. We will help you, but the path forward will be perilous. There are other forces, who will seek to harness the power of the quantum thread for their own ends. You must be prepared to face them. As Elena stared at the alien hand before her, she felt a strange sense of resolve settle in her chest. She had always dreamed of exploring the unknown, of pushing humanity to greater heights. But now, the unknown had come to her. The stakes were higher than she could have imagined. And she was ready. I'll do whatever it takes, she said firmly. I'll work with you. We'll fix this. Xylozar's eyes gleamed, and for the first time since their encounter, there was a hint of approval in his gaze. Then let us begin. Together, they turned toward the wreckage of the lab, the broken remnants of the quantum thread machine now glowing faintly in the dim light. The path ahead would not be easy, but with the fate of the multiverse hanging in the balance, Elena Richards knew that the greatest challenge of all had just begun, and humanity's true potential was about to be unlocked in ways that no one could have predicted.